Hope you had a good Saturday. I was looking at some of your stuff today. You put out a lot more than I do. uh, it seems like on weekends I really don't want to do anything. I get more stuff done during the week. Going nuts with the router. Oh, I understand. KP Heathen. Welcome, my friend from Louisiana, and Joseph Moore. Hello. The Bud Files. Five in the house, 3 likes. Please leave a like to support the channel. It will be greatly appreciated. So, I am doing a little bit trying to get organized. Trying to make sure all my paperwork and everything's organized. Finally went over today. My wife went over and signed the revised tax return. And it got sent off electronically. And now I need to send them a fairly large check. My wife doesn't understand it. You know, she can't understand. I said, well, they're raising taxes. People who work, that make money, that are not in poverty, they tax them more. And it's the middle class people that get hit the hardest, because the rich people, they have shelters and they're able to put corporations together, and you know, and their salary is very limited. Their salary might actually be what my salary is, but everything's owned by the corporation. Everything goes through the corporation. If they buy something, it's a corporation that owns it, or one of the corporations. Yeah, lawnmowers. I have a brand new self-propelled I really never used. It's like a backup. I've got an older one that we use, and I've got a riding mower that we use. It's an older riding mower. Um, I try to buy backups for stuff. Like I've got a backup 12-volt refrigerator, fridge freezer on wheels, a Bouge RV. Got it on sale for a good price, and I haven't used it. My wife unboxed it, sitting back there. I need to probably do a video of it. You know, I haven't. Utah Mike, welcome, Utah Mike. I'm right now looking at getting another one. So I'll have 2 brand new ones. And that way, if there was a crisis or emergency or something happened, I could have one as just basically a backup. And if the first one goes out, I mean, I don't have components to replace a compressor or various components if something went out. And the other thing is, if you're using it constantly, which you would be using it constantly in an emergency, and if we're talking about an extended emergency that could be years in length, after a year or 2 of use, it could go out. And if it did go out, and I mean, and it could last 4, 5, 7, 8 years, before the compressor goes out. But if it did go out, got another brand new one and I would probably test it and make sure it works. That my backup. And the idea is two is one because you'll keep one going. I'm not going to use both of them at the same time because it's going to be limited as far as what I'm going to do with it. Whereas right now I've got two full size, really nice refrigerators, and I've got a stand up freezer, top opening freezer that's out in my garage. One of the refrigerators is in my garage, and the other one is inside the house. And but backup. So if there was an emergency, I would basically use that refrigerator to keep water cold, to keep milk cold that I would make basically from you know freeze dried milk. I'd mix up. I'd keep milk in it. I'd mix up cheese and keep cheese in it. I'd mix up butter and I'd keep butter in it. Keep bottled waters in it for that I can put drink mixes in. Might keep some eggs in it. Most of what I have would be something that you keep at room temperature. So I really wouldn't need a huge one. If you got like a 50 quart, that'd be all you need. And any really, meat or such that we had would be something that would probably be shelf stable, whether it's a retort pouch or whether it's freeze dried, or maybe it's a can of something. So that's my thoughts on that. That's all you really need. What I would encourage you to do, Mike, I would encourage you to buy a 12-volt lithium ion 100 amp battery that will give you over 1200 watts of power storage. They come with battery management systems, and you need a good charge controller. Best to have an MPPT, but you can just use a regular one. Just a PW. I think it's a PWM, and that would be the best way to do it. And then having a couple of 100 watts of solar is all you really need to if that's what you're basically running. Jocelyn. I visited Jocelyn. She was doing an overnight live stream, and she's returning the favor. Yeah, they make them, and then they buy them. And sometimes these runs that you talk about, it could be one or two individuals buying them up. Somebody with money, resources buy them. I buy, I periodically, and I could do it consistently because I have the money to do it. I periodically buy cases of this and that. I usually buy a couple of cases at a time. And I store stuff relatively stable climate. It's usually in the 70s. I store it usually in the 70s. Sometimes it's colder, but I usually keep it in the 70s. And even during the summertime, it's in the 70s. So this stuff will last a long time. I have been putting them in plastic totes, taking them out and inventorying them, checking them and putting them in plastic totes. But the last, I think I got 7 cases right now. They're just sitting back here. Never unboxed them. The boxes, nothing wrong with the boxes. Boxes are in perfect shape. So I've got tons of retort pouches. I got lots of shelf stable. I've got lots of freeze dried. Mom of 4 boys. Trina's this and that. Welcome, Trina. Happy Sunday, Jocelyn. Hello, Mom. I was at my school nurse. They have an emergency team. They have what they call the acronym of MERT. When they have a medical emergency, different people have different functions. And we were having a staff meeting. The Black Widow. Hey, Black Widow, thank you for coming in. And the nurse was asked to speak to us about medical emergencies and procedures and such. And she asked if there were, if there was anybody who's on the team that has their first aid. And I said, I do. She said, well, can you get me your card? So one morning, a couple of days later, I went down. I had a photocopy of my card, front and back. I left it with her. And she sent a list of the people and what their jobs are for a medical emergency. And they've got maybe 10 or 12 people that are on that emergency team, to deal with things. They don't really need me, but in a medical emergency, I would think, other than the nurse, I'm probably the one that's most qualified to deal with, because I've had other training, and I've actually had to do CPR in real life. I've had to do the Heimlich maneuver in real life, successfully. Been a while since I've done it, but I've had to do it, and I keep my head in a crisis. Plus, I know how to splint. I know how to pressure bandages. I know how to deal with certain things. I don't think I would want to in a real type of murder, I would not want to have to try to do a tracheotomy. I'd be afraid I'd do more damage than I'd do good. That you'd have to really have some medical training to do. But occasionally somebody requires a tracheotomy. Somebody's broken something other, and they have to. Otherwise, that one I don't think I'd want to try to do. If I was in an SHTF, it was something other, I would probably try to do it if I knew they were going to die if it didn't have it. But I wouldn't want to try to do that. But I encourage everybody to go and get your certification. It's take you. Well, you can take a day, or you can take half a day. Half a day. One of those half a days are usually for recertifications. Belinda's Country Living. Hello, Belinda. So I ran another playlist, and I think I run 7 live streams, and I went to, I think, 2 of the people. I have been back, and I've left them comments, and I left them, likes and comments and full replay, letting them know. Little Lone Prepper, welcome, Little Lone Prepper. But one of the things I used to like about my Goal Zero because I have an AGM Goal Zero, and it is a 400 watt hour. In other words, it's got a 35 amp. Well, actually, they say it's a 31 amp. A 31 amp hour AGM battery in it. So the thing about AGM, I'm giving you a little quick rundown on AGM. The thing about AGM is you're only supposed to drain it halfway down to 50%. Otherwise, you damage it. Now, the thing about my Goal Zero 400, which is I've had for maybe 7 years, um, it's got expansion ports, so I can, on either side of the unit, I can plug in additional batteries. So the way I had it set up was I had 4 expansion batteries, 2 on each side, set up with that 400 watt hour Goal Zero. The expansion batteries are 35 amp hour AGM Harbor Freight batteries. And I've got them with, they're basically in plastic containers, like protective containers, where you can, and you could put more than that. You could put more than that, But basically, you got 5. Let's just say 5 400 watt. That's 2,000 watts, but you can only use 1,000 watts. You can only use 1,000 watts. Otherwise, you damage it. And I've already, because of the length of time I've had it and the length of time I've had it set up, I've actually replaced batteries. Because they don't have that long of a life when you use them. And they're constantly plugged in, they're constantly charging, they're constantly being used. I use them to recharge stuff. But one 100 amp hour 12 volt, and it's a 12 volt setup. One lithium ion 12 volt 100 amp hour battery, which I can get for, depending on the price and on sale, and it's got a battery management system in it, to protect it against overcharging and that kind of stuff. I can get one for, under $300. And you can drain that thing down all the way. So if you say that the thing is a 100 amp hour battery, an amp is about 13 watts, you're looking at about 1,300 watts. So you can very easily draw over 1,200 watts out of that battery for that 100 amp hour battery. Whereas with AGM, you take it down less than halfway and you're damaging it. And you're not damaged, you can take it down all the way, and those will have a 10-year charge life, and then after 10 years it supposedly will drop to 80%. And it still will work for you for years and years and years, and you can actually chain them and you can have more than one. That's the way to go. And I'm planning on redoing it this summer probably, and I will probably put 3 of the 100 amp, and you can buy a 100 amp, a 200 amp, or a 300. I could buy a 300 amp hour battery. The damn thing would just weigh so much. I'm getting older, so I don't like the weight. So I would buy 3 of the 100 amp hours, and that would give me just under 4,000 watts, which I don't know that I would use it that way, but you could drain it down pretty far. And the thing about that is when you have that kind of wattage, and if you're running something other that burns, say 50 watts an hour, so in a 24-hour period, you're looking at burning, 1,200 watts, maybe, if you're burning, if the thing's constantly running, and they cycle, they're not constantly running. So you're actually probably burning half that amount. So let's say you're burning 500, 600 watts in a 24-hour period. You could use the thing for a week without recharging. And you're going to have best charge during summer. In the wintertime, you're going to have the worst charge. It's not going to charge the way it normally would charge. You're not going to draw. You're not going to charge be able to charge it as much to a full. You're going to have days where you get very little charge. But when you have that kind of capacity, then you know. And I would predominantly use it for a 12-volt refrigerator. I would use it to recharge some lithium um, lights, lithium lanterns. I've got 3 Goal Zero lithium lanterns. I've got some other lithium lights that are rechargeable. Yeah, you can use it to recharge your phone, but if the grid is down, the cell towers will not have power, so it's not going to be working anyway. You got to think about stuff like that. Devil Dog Prepper. I hope that addresses, and like I mentioned, I've got 2 brand new that I haven't even unboxed power stations that are lithium that I need to do unboxings of. And I would recharge them. And the way that my solar is set up, I've got 2 lines from outside that run in. It's a splitter. And I can combine them or I can separate them. So I could be charging 2 different things. I could plug in 2 different things to charge. Like I could plug in a battery bank and I could have a separate line that I could basically plug into a power station to recharge a power station. I set it up that way when I did my remodel 6 years ago. I was thinking about it. 6 years ago, lithium was very expensive. It's very reasonable. Lithium is the way to go now. Lithium is the way to go. 9 in the house, 9 likes. Please leave a like to support the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. Good idea, Devil Dog. Solar lanterns. Now the Goal Zeros that I have, and Goal Zero, nice little lanterns that you can hang them. You can manually charge them by basically cranking. You plug them in USB. You charge them. Also, you can plug, like if you need to charge like your phone, you could plug your phone into your solar lantern and you can charge it, or you could charge a radio that way. It's got 4 little crystals that tell you when you're fully charged, 3/4, half, quarter charge. It's lithium, so you're not going to damage it by draining it down all the way. I've got 3 of those. We each have one. Now, Goal Zero, in my opinion, and nobody, I don't get any money or any freebies from anybody from the standpoint. I've got friends that send me stuff, but what I'm saying is none of these companies that I recommend have given me any incentives. It's just, this is stuff that I use, stuff that I like. And Goal Zero was, it was the GOAT at one time. I don't consider it that anymore. Now they've got good products, but they're not the innovators when it comes to, um, you know, lithium. Their power stations, they're overpriced. You know, when I bought my Gold Zero 400, which is AGM, when I bought it, and it's sitting right here next to me down there. I still use it. When I bought it, I paid like $400 for it. So it was like $1 a watt hour. And they make a 400-watt lithium now. And you'll pay like $500 for one. But, you know, you can go and buy, you can go and buy Blue Eddy, which is really, I love Blue Eddy. Pecron's nice. It's not considered just the same level as Blue Eddy. Blue Eddy is like, you know. And I buy Blue Eddy products. I have 3 Blue Eddy power stations. I bought one for my daughter. Got it real good deal on sale. My wife liked it, so I bought one for her. My wife had a Gold Power that I had given her, that I bought for like $150, like a 300-watt hour, little small ones, good for recharging small devices and such, lightweight. I just bought a um, model 70 Blue Eddy. I got it on sale for a real good price, and it's got a 1200-watt inverter in it, so I could run a microwave if I wanted to. And you know, and the idea is I could, but basically in an SHTF situation, power is going to be very premium. So, like I said, I would use it to run and keep a 12-volt refrigerator running. That would be what I would. That in charging my torches, charging my lanterns. You know, that's what I would do in an SHTF situation. Radios, I would use them. I would use it to charge radios. So, Uncle Al did a short today, and I'm pretty sure he was showing what I sent him, because I'd sent him one of these in a goodie. I sent him a couple of different ones in a goodie. But one of the things that was in his short was, you know, this. I would basically be using this. I would use propane, but propane might run out. But I would be using this, and I would be using a sterno, and I've got so much that I've got 100 cans of, you know, sterno type. You know, last me forever, or a good chunk of, you know, last me months and months. Even using it every day, several times a day. You know. Yeah, Oops is a strong solar generator. Yes, it is. That's true. I don't own one. I have nothing against them. And if you can get something like that, when you go to buy, shop around, look at what you can get, what's on sale. When they have a holiday sale, that's when you want to buy. You know, that's when you want to buy. And then sometimes they have overstocked in inventory, and then they'll mark stuff down. That's when you want to buy. No, I have not. I have hand radios, but no, I don't. I'm not a ham radio operator. No, if if I really saw things completely going south, I might invest and buy some stuff. I have the money that if I had to spend a few $1,000s to set something up, I'd do it. But at this point, no. The other thing is, um, if something were to happen, um, I would be more worried about my immediate environs. And I've got walkie-talkies that will work over a range of a couple of miles. So it'd basically just be securing my area, being able to monitor my area. Um, I might invest in that. There are other things that I'm spending money on, and then I'm constantly trying to upgrade food and water, and well, yeah, you can. Uncle Al's wanting to say power bank, but it's like you can either charge it through wind, or likely you're charging it through solar. And some people have turbines, the smaller turbines that'll generate, depending on if you're in an area that has lots of wind. My area, I have high wind and then I have no wind. I have high wind and I have no wind. You know. So I really don't see wind for me as a means to charge a power station. Um, there are people. You could be someplace where you've got running water, and you could set up like a little system that you could, hydro charging. I don't, you know. Well, I will tell you that's good, Devil Dog, that they've got people who are, discounts and such, and and you use their code. Hobotech will give you a code. So he tests stuff. Companies send him stuff to test. I like his reviews. He gives good reviews. If you're not subscribed to Hobotech, you need to subscribe to Hobotech. And Idaho Garden Girl, welcome, Idaho Garden Girl. But shop around. Before you buy something, look around, cruise around, have you have sites that your go-to sites. Look at those sites and see who's got what at what price. Like I can go to Blue Eddy, the Blue Eddy site, and they sell directly. I oftentimes would get a better deal. I have gotten a better deal buying from Amazon than I did from Blue Eddy. And you can buy directly from Blue Eddy. But if you want to be alive a month after something happens, or you want to have an opportunity to be alive a month after something happens, you better have water and you better have food. And your water will go fast. You'll be using the water. And you better have a means to acquire clean water. And if you got water stored, how long is that going to last you? And you better have a means to test, and you better have a means to filter it and clean it. And if you have yeah, you don't have to be worried about the FAA if there's a serious something happens. You wouldn't have to worry about that. 9 in the house, 11 likes. Please leave a like to support the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. You know, it's like you take maintenance medication. How much do you have? If you have one of those health conditions where if you don't get your medication for a week, you're dead, you better have a good supply of that medication. In a grid down major situation, people would not be getting medication. You might get into a situation after a period of time when, if you are a diabetic and you have to take insulin, if you have you have to take kidney dialysis, you have certain people who have to have certain therapies and such that keeps them going. Those will be the first ones that'll go down, you know. Yeah, FCC, Federal Communications Commission. I mean, back in the day when I was, I had a third class license, so I could be on the air, radio, back in the days of AM, way back when, we're talking 40 some odd years ago. I had to go to Houston to take the test. It was elements 1, 2, and I think part of 3, if I recall correctly. I mean, I've been involved and had licenses and various. I used to have an FFL where I could buy wholesale. I could sell firearms. Back in the day when I was a teacher, we're talking 30 some odd years ago. I gave it up. That was during the Clinton administration. Well, as far as cholesterol is concerned, eating healthy will deal with your cholesterol. Also, your weight. If you want to control your cholesterol, look at what you eat and look at your weight. Also, that will affect your blood pressure. You drop weight, it'll positively affect your blood pressure. Eating healthy and getting some exercise will positively affect your blood pressure. I'm fairly sedentary right now. I'm not exercising much. So I'm up to 250 pounds. And I'm taking metformin again. I got off of it for years, didn't need it, and now the doctor prescribed 500 milligrams a day. I probably have about a year's worth of metformin. Certain medications I have a year's worth. Certain I haven't built up to a year's worth. I'm trying to. Yeah, your body needs salt, that's true.
I'm gonna have to go to the store and get some books.
Okay, I'm on a live stream.
Sorry.
That was a wife sighting. I had told her I was going to live stream. She knows I live stream 7. So I gotta go to the store. Okay. Vegetables are important. One of the things I said I was going to do for this coming year, for my classes, because I do one of the subjects I'm responsible for is science. I'm probably going to try to do a garden at school, but I'm also going to do aero gardening, hydroponics, and grow, tomatoes and lettuce and strawberries and certain, peppers and such. It'll be cool for the kids, I do stuff, for the kids. Sea salt. Sea salt's healthy for you. Sea salt. Carnivore. Yeah, my friend. I got together with a couple of my friends that were educators. Were retired. And Himalayan salt. Okay, that's cool. I got together with a couple of my friends this morning. We went over to a restaurant here called Ramsey's. They make good breakfast, and it's like the old style truck stop. Make good breakfast. They have good lunches. They've got a salad bar at lunch. They've got lunch specials. Really good stuff. It's like back in the day when I was a kid. And my friend previously, he barbecues a lot more than I do. And he brought me some sausage and some ribs. I said, well, the sausage and the tortillas, that was basically 3 meals. Good chunk of sausage with tortilla. And then the ribs was a meal. And I thanked him. He said, well, I'll get you some more, blah. Good stuff. And I used to go over there with him. We'd barbecue together, or we'd sit around, and one of our acquaintances that used to be with us over at the school would do the barbecuing. Life is good. Well, in a SHTF situation, and I'm not really in a position to do that here where I'm at. I'm planning on a couple of years from now, because I'm not that old. I plan on living past 90. But a couple of years from now, I want to, if things are still the way they are, or whether they are or not, as long as society hasn't fallen apart, I want to basically go further out into the country where I can have more land and have a septic system and have a deeper well. I'll try to probably buy something that's already been, because it costs so much to put in new stuff now, something that's already existing. And then I'll probably want to have a manual pump on the well, so that if there was a power down, because they run usually on 220, there was a power down and I didn't have the power to run it, you could pump it, and you basically pump water out into whatever, haul water around. Hello, Melinda Elliott. Thank you for coming in. Melinda, I run another one of your live streams. I have not left a comment and a like on it yet, but it did a full run. It was on my playlist last night. I don't. Uncle Al doesn't live stream, so with Uncle Al, I watch him. Leave comments. Yes, it'd be nice to have a cow, a milk cow, but you can have goats. Goats will give you milk, and goats will give you meat, and you can make cheese. Chickens or guineas, you have eggs, and you can have, you You can, you can basically slaughter the chickens. Have some to slaughter, you grow. You basically have tons of them. You don't limit yourself like I limited myself. I have a dozen chickens. You know, and I'm getting ready to start another generation of them. After a certain period of time, they stop producing eggs. Um, Rabbits, yes, rabbits. Uh, Verna, Vase Place. She does quail, and she does, and they, you can raise them fairly fast. Quail's good to eat. It's a little gamey. Quail and quail eggs, but quail eggs. 3 of the quail eggs are about like 1 regular egg, chicken egg. Rabbits, yeah, they're good for meat, and they breed like rabbits. Mike Crusher Reviews. Hi, Mike. Thank you for coming in. And I'm behind on Mike's content right now, but it gives me something to watch. I'll probably watch one of Mike's after my live stream. One thing I've got to do is I've got to load up another playlist. I've got to leave comments on several video live streams that I watched last night, or I didn't watch that I played last night. I've got to leave comments, and I've got to leave likes, and then I've got to load up another set of streams, or run them. Certain people I run, and they do the same thing for me. Sweet home in Alabama. Guinea pigs. So you're heading north. If you're coming from Alabama, you're heading north, Mike. Pigeons. Yeah, rabbits. In SHTF, people will be eating dogs and cats. Yeah. Yep. Well, you be safe in your travels, Mike. I appreciate you coming in. I hope somebody else is doing the driving if you're texting or if you're making comments. Well, I hear you. For one thing, you want to have a breeding pair, and dogs are dogs are security. We've had dogs forever. They'll keep people in a normal situation. Now, if society falls apart and you get the zombie apocalypse, where you got people desperate for food and they're going to risk their life or whatever, dogs will be an early warning system, but they won't stop them. They'll still come, and they may kill your dogs if you're not careful. Oh, you're in a carpool? Wife is driving. I'm chilling in the back with the dogs. Cool. Very cool. Fish, yes. You get a stock pond. Catfish. But you got to feed them. If you got a stock pond, you got to feed them. And I know people who have stock ponds. And those catfish get big. But you got to feed them. I mean, if you look at the heartland, the heartland will do okay. It's the big cities where everything will go to SHIT. Those would be, where, it'd be to be hell, it'd be in the big cities. And then you'll have people leaving the big cities, going out into the suburbs and out into the countryside, and there'll be a lot of incidents of shootings. Pigeons taste like doves. I like white wing. I've eaten white wing. White wing's good. I really don't have to me, quail's a little gamey. White wing's fine. Love chicken. Yeah. Everybody needs a good medical manual. Like a prepper's medical manual. The ultimate readiness guide for medical emergencies and disaster situations. James C. Jones, co-founder of Live Free USA. Be prepared to face any medical emergency with the Essentials Guide. And and you get books like this, and they've got everything's got tons of illustrations and pictures. But you want something like that. How many pigeons or doves would one have to eat to make a meal? I'd say if you're talking white wings, a couple. A couple would make a meal. Well, let's say you make a pot of beans and rice. If you had one, that'd be meat for you to go with your beans and rice. But if you're just eating them, I would say a couple, perhaps three. Somebody just said four. Well, like I said, and like I, um, to each his own. While you have canned food, while you have all the basics, I've got a couple of 100 pounds of rice, at least. I gotta go back. I gotta go back and look at the other side over there. I know what I got in here, but I mean, I got stuff over there. I've had over there for years. I got another closet full of stuff. I've got to go over there and you know. But you supplement. You got your bread and butter, and then you supplement. Hillbilly Josh, welcome, Hillbilly Josh. You got people who think, well, I'll go out and live in the woods, or I'll go out and I'll just live off the land. You're not going to live. You're not going to last that long. What if you got a wife and kids with you? You think they're going to be able to handle that? You got to look at your situation. You know, if you're the lone wolf and you got a place out in the woods, and you got running water, you got a septic system or an outhouse or whatever set up, and you do some major gardening, and you've got animals and pens and everything. You've got a means to feed them. See, you can let your chickens and your during certain times of the year, you can let them free range. They'll feed themselves and they'll come back. But you got to watch out for animals because animals will get them. You know, that's just like if you're out in the boonies, you got to watch out for snakes. You don't want to stick your hand in your chicken coop, especially at night, to go grab an egg. There may be a snake in there. Got to watch out for stuff like that. That'd scare the shit out of me. You probably wind up getting bit too. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not one that's poisonous. What is squab? It's the type of bird that people will eat. Thank you for like number 14. At my school, the school district has those little glasses that you wear. They're going to issue them out per grade, and then they have to be turned in. And the idea is they'll be able to go out and on Monday in the afternoon. See, where I'm at, we're not going to get a total eclipse. We're only going to get a partial. You know. But they'll go by grade to go and view it. So yeah, they're ready for that. I'm not. I've been through eclipses before. It's like not that big a deal. Um, I've got one student told me her father's going to keep her home for the eclipse. He's concerned. You know, you can damage your eyesight if you don't watch out. But no, you don't want to wait till you're almost out of food before you start trying to, you know, you're going to want to have seeds and you're going to want to be able to plant. You're going to need water to water the stuff. Yeah. And the other thing is, you've really got to work a garden. You've really got to work that garden. You've really got to protect it. The other thing is you got to worry about is you'll have animals trying to go after your vegetables, birds, you know, pests. You really got to work and protect that garden. You also have people wanting to steal your stuff when it's starting to get ripe. You know, watch out. You got to think about that kind of stuff. You really got to think about that. I never heard of that one. 7 and 7. I've never heard of that one. Well, I will tell you. Um, I've had goats, and you can get a lot from goats, and they're not that expensive. You get a breeding pair. Um, I've had chickens forever. If you want, you can have quail. You can raise quail. You can raise rabbits. They're not that expensive to get started, but you got to be able to feed them. You know. Now goats will graze off of whatever. You know, but then they'll also eat down to your root. I mean, they'll eat whatever they can eat. You got to have a means to feed them. Same thing. You have dogs. What about your dog food? What are you going to feed your dogs? Your animals. I I look at, like, I buy freeze dried number 10 cans. So I buy like extras of stuff. Well, I have so many cans, and you figure out you do the can will last you for so many servings, and you start looking at what you've got to do, and I'm extending the amount of time I have. That if I'm using freeze dried, how long will the freeze dried last? While I'm getting the garden going. And where I'm at, you can do a fall garden, you can do a spring garden, you can do two gardens. I'm not really in a situation where I can do a winter garden because the weather. Now, if you have a greenhouse, my wife saw me about a greenhouse, you know, where you can control the temperatures. Yeah, you can do some stuff inside of a greenhouse. Uh, do you have the space? Do you have the space? Tilling the ground. Also, it can be trying to get a garden going is hard work. Hard work. Take care, Uncle Al. Thank you for coming in. Mr. Whistle. Hi, Mr. Whistle. Thank you for coming in. Hey, thank you, Joseph. Appreciate you. So, yeah, that's true. You don't want to wait. I need, like right now, my wife has been doing a lot of foliage. She's been putting in a lot of decorative plants, and the garden. We really don't have a garden going right now. I need to get all that crap cleaned out. I'm probably going to pay a couple of people to come over and clean all that out for me so I can get it set up, to do something. Um, I'm going to have some work done on my patio, extending my pavers out and my flower beds, and I'm gonna have somebody help her do that. She works her butt off out there, but still, it's rough. You know, it's rough. I don't have time and energy to do it now that I'm back working. I used to be the yard person and keep up the yard. Vegetables are very good. We used to, back in the days, we'd eat chickens. Back in the days, we would eat catfish. Back in the days, my father had a friend who had a stock pond. He would go over, and they would use a net, and they'd run through it, and they'd pretty good sized, catfish. Back in the days, and when we would go fishing, bass, catfish, or saltwater fishing, everything would get cleaned and put in the freezer, and eat a lot of fish. Or they'd have a deer processed. I've never really liked venison. Kill a hog, butcher a hog. You know, that's not my bag. I would go buy a quarter and have it all butchered up, and cut up, and packed up, with paper, to where you basically pull it out, have them make your hamburger meat and everything, and put it in. But here's the thing: if you've got a couple of freezers, you gotta keep them running. So if you're using propane or even gasoline, better to use propane than gasoline. You get a dual powered system. You get more power out of the gas than you do of the propane, but the propane is easier on the wear of the system. You need to have a couple of generators where you can rotate them. And then you need to figure out, well, how much propane is it going to use? How much propane can I store? Like, I've got 3 20-pound bottles of propane, the 20-pound ones, so big. I got 3 of those. And I have a bunch of the 1 pounds, which I don't use. Right now, they're like about $5 a piece, the 1 pound ones. And you can use those for like a portable heater or for a smaller cook stove or whatever. Basically, the propane would basically be used for cooking. I've got a propane grill, nice one. That's basically what the propane would go for. And then the 12-volt refrigerator, now I've got a couple of them, plan on buying a third one. That would basically be solar. And I've got the foldable panels where you go out camping, a couple of the 100-watt foldable panels for recharging out in the, when you're camping. You got to watch that stuff. People steal it. You got to be very careful about that kind of stuff. Like nighttime, you got to go put that stuff up. You don't leave it out. Somebody will steal it. There are thieves everywhere. Even in good areas, there are thieves. Yes. Enjoy the fishing. The thing is, do you have the stomach to butcher? You have a weak stomach? Can you butcher something and then eat it afterwards? Country folks learn to do that. It's been a while since I butchered anything. My wife would probably be the one to do the butchering. She's tough. That woman's tough. You know. Yes, hungry people steal. Goat milk is good. I've got a, I wanted to say SHIT load of whey milk. I probably have a year's worth of whey milk. The idea of SHTF happening is that you want to be around after the great die off, because there'd be a great die off. You want to survive the great die off, and then it's basically, rebuilding. That you want to survive all of the blue cities, the die off in the blue cities. And then it will go back to the way things used to be. Goat milk is good, yes. Yes. Now the thing about talking about milk, like say shelf stable milk. All right, you go to the store and you buy milk, or you buy homogenized or 2% or 1%. You buy almond milk, oat milk, whatever, refrigerated. It has a shelf life for 2-3 weeks. Now you can buy some shelf stable milk. It usually comes in quart. It usually comes in quart sized little boxes. 32 ounces. And you don't have to refrigerate it, but when you open it up, it has to be, you have to refrigerate it. So the idea would be you have this, and the shelf life on that might be 6-8 months. Your shelf life on that would be 6-8 months. You put it out on a shelf. Or the way I would do it is when I get ready to open it up, I'm going to use it. I put it in the fridge overnight to where I get cool before I open it up. Once I open it up, you got to keep it in the fridge. And that way, I like cold milk. Powdered milk, freeze-dried milk, you're basically mixing that up, with water. And you want to refrigerate it. And you're going to probably be using it as fast as you mix it. Let's say you mix a quart a day, and you got 4 people. Each person has an 8-ounce glass. You're going to use a quart a day. Might use more. You've got to be good at math and figure out, well, how much depth do I have in what I have? You got to think about that. You got to figure that out. You need an inventory of what you have. And then you can calculate how long it'll last. Cabrito, barbecue goat, good stuff. Yeah, it's wonderful. Goat is good. The Mexican people love goat. Good stuff. Good stuff. The idea is you want to have some like-minded people with you. You want to have a group, like-minded people to support you. And everybody needs to contribute. What do you bring to the group? I would bring knowledge to a group, organization, leadership. And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying these are my skill sets. Knowledge about a number of things. Not losing my head in an emergency. Being able to do medical. Triage and such. Also, I would bring what I have to the group. I have been collecting items and things for a long time. Things that are needed to take care of my family. My daughter will wind up getting married, and when she gets married, then I'll probably have to be in with her in-laws. The boy she goes with her father's a Baptist pastor at a pretty good sized church. So I would probably be involved with them to a certain extent. Teaching people how to shoot a firearm, clean a firearm, having firearms, having ammunition. And I was never in the military, but I do know a lot about military tactics. I've read a lot about military tactics. How to set up a defensive perimeter, how to, go in and clear. You got to practice with this kind of stuff. And I'm old and I'm out of shape. Look at me, I'm a fat man. I did a lot more. I was a pretty good shot when I was back in the day. I would practice regularly. I know how to hand load. I can load ammunition. I've got components and the equipment to load. So Sunday, manana, take care, Devil Dog. So tomorrow is Sunday, and it will be a taco talk. I've got to get, I've got to get the box, I've got to get the box loaded up for, I gotta get the box loaded up for Scott SD Mountain Man. I've got to film that last segment of me loading the box. I'm lazy. Just haven't done it. Got everything to do it. I was actually working on loading up a box of sauce for my friend. I'm gonna take a trick out of Uncle Al's book. I've got a package. I need to wrap this stuff. This is Tabasco. I'm doing 2 Tabascos and 2 of the green Cholulas. These are from my friend Dave. He's going by Yoda now. Yoda! I've got a box, and I'm basically reusing a box that I had ordered some shelf-stable tortillas. I bought a 12-pack of shelf-stable tortillas. I'm going to reuse that box. And I'm basically just sending him 4. And I've got to wrap these, so I don't want any breakage. And I'm basically going to send him 4 of these. And I'll send this when I send the package for SD Mountain Man. I'll get those wrapped up hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully. I'll get my video done tomorrow. I try to accomplish 1 or 2 things a day that I need to accomplish. You know, the way things work. Yeah. What, you know, in a grid down situation, you're not going to probably be using a full-size refrigerator if you draw too much power. You need to have a 12-volt. And you can get one for under $300, a nice one. The idea is you probably want more than one. And then you need to have solar power panels. You need at least a couple hundred watts of panels to recharge a power station, or you know, having some 12-volt batteries. You need a charge controller. You need the interface to run, you know, your fridge freezer. And I wouldn't worry with freezing. I just worry with refrigeration. I try to keep my waters and my milk and various things at like around 40 degrees. You know, that way you're not using too much power. So as I said, there's plenty of time, but you need to really be prepping. You need to get your stuff together. And you need to be reading and learning, trying to make an inventory of what you have, make a list of what you need, work on it, budget for what you're doing. You can prep, and it doesn't have to cost you that much. You can do it smartly. Shop for good deals. Remember, the scout motto is be prepared. I was a scout as a boy 50 years ago. The scout motto is be prepared. Life is good, but it is what it is. Every day, thank God for the day. Say the prayer. Say the Lord's Prayer. Be humble. Keep your eyes open, your ears open. Listen. Pay attention. Be cognizant of what's going on around you. Learn from others. Don't draw attention. Try to be the gray person when you're out. Don't wear things that draw attention. Don't, don't draw attention to yourself. Try to be inconspicuous. Life is good, but it is what it is. Things happen, especially in the big blue cities. You do not want to be in a big blue city. Everybody, please have a blessed day. Thank you for coming. I'll be running another live stream, and I'll be leaving comments on the live streams that I viewed. Support those who support you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Lead by example. And everybody, please have a blessed day. And we'll see you tomorrow for hopefully a Sunday edition of Taco Talk. Bye-bye.